this is part 22 of our 100% walkthrough for Link to the Past. And this part will be finishing up Misery Mire.
Yep.
We'll get the big key. We'll get the Cane of Somaria.
Already got the big key, actually.
Actually, bam, there you go, right off the bat.
Yep.
Then we'll get the map, which once again is kind of late in the dungeon.
It is.
And then we'll take on the boss, which is Red.
Vitreous,
yeah, because I do not know how to pronounce that name. And even when I try, I still can't spit it out.
Yep. Well, it's interesting that similar to the previous dungeon, again, in the first part of our recording, all we got was the compass, and we get the map so much later. We get all the dungeon items basically except for the
It's
compass.
weird that we hit that 2 dungeons in a row.
I know.
We just talked about it's not necessarily rare, but it doesn't happen a lot. And then bam, 2
Back to
dungeons
back, yeah.
in a row. We end up doing that.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, and this dungeon's considerably less confusing than the Ice Palace.
Yes.
So it's not as big of a deal that we don't have the map, in my opinion. Until later, but it's kind of funny how that worked out on these 2 dungeons.
Yeah, and you kind of see we're starting to do a little bit of backtracking in this dungeon.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. It's nothing like the Ice Palace, but really, if you think about it, in most of these dungeons, there has been a tad bit of backtracking involved. So, which I guess you really could apply that to almost every Zelda dungeon.
Yep.
It's just when we get to that point where it's too tedious, is really when it starts to get to me.
I didn't get to mention there was one thing I liked at the very end of the last part, and it was the end of the video, so didn't really get a lot of chance. I
finished 5 seconds early in the last part, so we could have probably fit it in.
Yeah, but I really liked how we had to light 4 torches, but they were spread out across 2 different rooms, and then they opened a pathway on a totally different room. It's like normally for those puzzles, it's contained to just one room.
And that's the part where you'll get stuck in this game, because I remember actually getting stuck right there. I was like, I go into like this hallway room. I'm like, what? There's nothing in here. What in the world am I supposed to do? And you actually can move the wall, and then there's a hole. So that was definitely a confusing part. 'Cause I remember just looking at that treasure chest where the big key was, and be like, how in the world do you get to this thing?
Yep. I really like crossing that platform too. When it's crumbling and you've got the eyes are shooting the lasers while you're trying to get it across. But the dungeon item though.
Yeah, once again, like it's not that great of an item. We actually will use it. We use it some in this dungeon. Obviously, we should. Yeah. But we'll actually use it a lot more in the next dungeon. So, I mean, it's definitely required to beat the game. But like, I'm kind of like you. Like, we already got 1 cane. Yeah. Like, why don't we get crutches? If we need 2 canes, we're just gonna get crutches instead. So.
And all this cane does, it creates a block for you, which is useful for the puzzles where it's like you have to hold down a switch. Yes. But you don't have a block to push to hold it down. But I feel like it's almost kind of being forced. Like there's no.
It's not hard puzzles though. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you step on it. Well, first of all, you try to find out what it does, which that should be one of the first things you do. If you don't know what the Cane of Somaria does, you use it to see what it does. But yeah, it's one of those things like as soon as you use it, it doesn't really make the puzzles that it's there to solve that difficult.
It really doesn't. Like you said, it serves an entirely different purpose in Turtle Rock.
And I like the purpose it serves in Turtle Rock.
Now these rupee rooms though,
they're a joke.
At this point in the game.
And we'll hit another one here in a little while, but just this late in the game, I mean, I guess everybody plays the game differently, so they could be helpful for some people. There could still be a lot of items that you don't have, but as you can see us, we've had 999 rupees for a while, so they're kind of just getting pointless, and like I said, we'll hit another one here in a little while, so...
I will say I don't like. Well, in general, I don't like dark rooms.
Yep.
And this one,
unless it's that time. Of
the
night.
Now, those are okay, but it really doesn't fit with the rest of this dungeon. I kind of agree with you. We talked about that a little bit before we started recording. That it just seems very out of place and like just kind of sudden in this dungeon.
Well, there's not that many of them either. Like the Palace of Darkness, you know what we say? We hate dark rooms because I just hate anything that blocks my vision. Yep. It's kind of like wearing hats. I can't wear hats because that bill gets in my face and
something might attack you from above. You know?
So like that's why I hate these rooms. Like later on in Zelda games, like dark rooms are different. You can still see like a pretty big area. So I don't mind those too much, but yeah, this right here, Palace of Darkness, it made sense. But for me, like the color of the dungeon has just been beautiful.
It has.
I love that like kind of brightish green color there is. So I just think that dark rooms were just not necessary at all.
Yeah, and I get it that we're like in the basement levels now. I think we're like basement 2.
We were in the Ice Palace too, and you didn't have any dark rooms in the Ice Palace.
Oh, thank goodness! Could you imagine if they tossed dark rooms?
It was already bad enough.
It was bad enough.
It'd been the worst dungeon in the history of Zelda. So
well, then you combine the dark rooms with the treadmills, and it's just
evil. That's just really pure evil right there. You don't know where treadmills. Yeah, I have a hard enough time running on treadmill in lights.
in real life or in Zelda.
And keep myself up.
Yeah. But it's just, this whole section of the dungeon, just it felt very, and those guys.
Those Zoros, yeah, man. Like, that's one of those things, when I was practicing, I was like, I know I'm going to forget about these guys, and they're going to end up getting me. Like, because as soon as you bomb that, you see they come flying right out.
Yep. And this is another one of those dungeons that has a ton of bubbles in it. So it's like anytime you should really get low on health in this one.
We need these in Skull Woods. Remember Skull Woods? We were like searching for hearts the entire dungeon and could not find it.
There were a few times there in Skull Woods it was pretty touch and go. That's for sure.
And we'll see a lot more of the bubbles in the last dungeon or the next dungeon.
In Turtle Rock,
the last dungeon. So it's really nice that in these later dungeons they give us at least an option for getting some more hearts.
Now this boss fight, I'll start with the positives. I like that they finally got some swamp water in here.
And that's what the whole dungeon needed. We kind of talked about that in the first part. Having some of this throughout the dungeon would have been great.
Plus, if you get in like that stuff in the middle, does it hurt you?
I'm not necessarily sure how that works, to be honest with you.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think obviously we get the heart piece there when we beat him, but I don't really know, to be honest with you.
But it just looks awesome. If you could just have some of that, and it's like pulsating too, like just get that throughout the dungeon, I think it would have added a lot to it. The boss himself was kind of a cakewalk. As
you see, like, basically shoot the arrows. It's not that hard. Yeah. Then once you saw me, like, as they start coming from an angle, it's actually best to use your sword because you can't hit him with your bow.
It's a little tougher.
And then when it comes down to the eye, like basically just hit him with arrows. Very easy boss fight right there.
I do like his lightning attack.
Yeah, his lightning attack and a flashback to Aghanim, that was cool.
Plus, it's cool just the way the eye like pops out of the water, looks around, and then shoots the lightning. It's a nice little touch that I liked, but it's still an easy boss all in all.
Yeah, then the story kind of we get right here, and we'll try not to jump too far ahead like we did last time, but Ganon captured the maidens because he couldn't break the seal of the wise man by himself.
Yep.
And then he used Aghanim to draw us to the Dark World, which we saw that when we battled him in Hyrule Castle.
Yep, we saw him do it to Zelda.
And then Ganon sealed the maidens inside of the crystals.
And I do like how this maiden says, "Oh, Zelda's waiting for you in Turtle Rock." But now that we've knocked out Misery Mire,
she won't be there.
She won't be there. This wraps up part 22 of our Link to the Past 100% walkthrough.